Chapter 5. The Truth Beyond Magic. The Buddha said, "It is better to feed one good man than to feed 100 bad men. It is better to feed one who observes the 5 precepts of Buddha than to feed 1,000 good men. It is better to feed one Sotrapana than to feed 10,000 of those who observe the 5 precepts of Buddha. It is better to feed one Skridagaman than to feed 1,000,000 of Sratapanas. It is better to feed one Anagaman than to feed 10,000,000 of Skridagamans. It is better to feed one Arhat than to feed 100 millions of Anagamans. It is better to feed one Pratayak Buddha than to feed 1,000,000,000 of Arhats. It is better to feed one of the Buddhas, either of the present or of the past, or of the future, than to feed 10 billions of Pratayak Buddhas. It is better to feed one who is above knowledge, one-sidedness, discipline, and enlightened, than to feed 100 billions of Buddhas of past, present, or future." Let us first talk a little about the disease called man. Man is a disease because deep down the very being of man is split. It is not one. Hence, continuous disease, uneasiness, anxiety, angst, anguish. Schizophrenia is just a normal state of affairs. It is not that a few people become schizophrenic. Man is born schizophrenic. It has to be understood. Man is born in disease, born as disease. When you entered your mother's womb, the first moment of your life was based on 2 parents, the mother and the father. Your very beginning was dual, divided, male, female, yin, yang, positive, negative. The first unity of your being was already based on division. Half of you came from one parent, the other half from another parent. From the very beginning, you have been 2. So schizophrenia is not something that happens to a few unfortunate people. It is just the normal state of affairs. Man is born split, hence continuously there is a duality, an indecisiveness, a wavering. You cannot decide who you really want to be. You cannot decide where to go. You cannot choose between 2 alternatives. You remain ambiguous. Whatsoever you do, a part of you remains against it. Your doing is never total. And a doing that is not total cannot be fulfilling. A doing that is chosen only by one part of your being against the other part will create a greater and greater rift in your being. This has to be understood. Unity is in the end, not in the beginning. You can become a unitary being. You can become non-dual. You can come to yoga. Yoga means unity, unison, integration, individuation, but that is in the end, not in the beginning. In the beginning is the dual. In the beginning is the division. In the beginning is disease. So unless you understand it and make an effort to transform it, the merger has not yet happened. It has happened only on one level, on the level of the body. On the level of the body, you have become one. Your mother and your father have melted on the plane of the body. You have become one body. Out of 2 bodies, a new unity has arisen, but is only of the body, in the body, not deeper than the body. Deep in your mind, you are split. And if you are split in your mind, there is no way to go beyond the mind. Only a mind that has become a unity, integrated one, becomes capable of going beyond. This sutra of Buddha is tremendously significant. A very simple sutra, but don't take it literally. Of course, literally also it is true, but is the whole progression, how to become one, how to dissolve the two-ness on all levels of your being, from the most gross to the most subtle, from the circumference to the center, how to drop all duality and come to a point where suddenly you are one. That point is the goal of all seekers, because once you have become one, your misery disappears. Misery is conflict. Misery is because of your house is divided. Misery is because you are not one. You are a crowd. 1,001 voices inside you pulling and pushing you in all sorts of ways and all directions. You are a mess, a chaos. It is a miracle how you manage not to go mad, because you are boiling with madness. It is a miracle how somehow you go on remaining sane, how you are not lost in this crowd. But whether lost or not, you are sitting on a volcano, which can erupt any moment. Remember this, madness is not something that happens to a few unfortunate people. Madness is something everybody is prone to. Madness is something you are carrying within you like a seed. It can sprout any moment. It is only waiting for the right season, the right climate, the right opportunity. Any small thing can trigger it, and you simply go berserk. You are berserk because your foundation is split. It is possible to become one, but then one has to be very aware about this whole situation. I have heard Mullah Nasruddin went to a psychiatrist and asked if the good doctor could not split his personality. Split your personality, asked the doctor. Why in heaven's name do you want me to do a thing like that? Because, said Mullah Nasruddin, I feel so lonesome. Don't just laugh at it. Maybe that's why you never worked hard to become a unity, because this duality gives you a certain company. You can talk with yourself, you can have a dialogue. Everybody is having a dialogue, continuously, sitting in your chair. What are you doing when you close your eyes? This continuous dialogue is there. You question and you answer, from this side, from that side. Watch this dialogue. If this dialogue stops, you will not feel lonesome. You will not feel very alone. Will you not feel very empty if this dialogue stops? Will you not suddenly feel that all noise has disappeared? Will you not become frightened that there's only silence? No, you go on feeding this dialogue. You go on helping this dialogue to be there. Either you are talking with others, or if it's not possible because others are not always available, then you are talking with yourself. While you are awake, you are talking with others. While you are asleep, you are talking with yourself. What is your dream? A drama that you enact inside your being to create a society because you are so lonesome. In the dream, you are the director. You are the story writer. You are the actor. You are the screen. And you are the audience. You alone. But you create a beautiful drama. The whole day and the whole night. What are you doing? Talking with yourself. This constant talking, this constant dialogue with yourself. Is it not boring? Yes, you are bored. You are bored with yourself. But still, you have chosen the lesser evil. You think that this dialogue stops, you will be even more bored. At least there is something to say, something to do inside. Left alone, with no dialogue, you will be simply lost. This dialogue keeps you a little alive, throbbing with life. Mullah is right, he says. I am feeling so lonesome. Remember, the whole effort of the spiritual path is to help you to become alone, because only when you are ready to become alone, when you are ready to fall into inner silence, when you are no longer clinging to this constant inner talk, then only you can become a unity, because this constant inner talk helps you to remain dual, divided. Just the other night, a friend came to me and he said that in the night sometimes he falls from his bed and only in the morning he becomes aware of it. And one day it happened that he found himself 10 feet away from his bed. So what is happening? Now he must be getting into deep dreams, nightmares, and the dreams must be so deep that even if he falls from his bed, he found himself 10 feet away from the bed. That means the slumber must be like a coma. I asked him one thing. Do you talk too much in the day? He said no. Then that explains it. There are two types of people, talkers and listeners. T people and L people. Talkers talk the whole day, then in the night they have to listen. Then they go on to listen to a religious discourse or something. They go to the church in the dream to the priest. The whole day they have been talking. One has to compensate. They listen in their dreams. People who have to listen during their day, who have become listeners, talk in the night. They shout. They say the things they always wanted to say but could not manage in the day. Nobody was ready to listen to them. It happens to people that when they go to a psychoanalyst and the psychoanalyst listens to them patiently, attentively, of course. He has to listen because he is paid for it. Their dreams start changing. Their talking and their dreams by subsides. The quality of the dream changes because now they have found somebody who listens to them. They have become the talker and they have found a party who listens attentively. Their dreams become more silent. They are not talking and shouting in the night. Their nights are more silent, more at ease. Remember, whatsoever you miss in the day, you will do in your dreams. The dream is complementary. It compensates. It completes whatsoever has remained incomplete in the day. If you are a beggar in the day, in the night, you will dream that you are an emperor. If you are an emperor during the day, in the night, you will dream that you have become a Buddha, a beggar. That's how it happened. Buddha was born in an emperor's palace, but he started dreaming about becoming a beggar. When after 12 years he came back home enlightened, his father said, "Stop all this nonsense. You are my only son. Come back. I am waiting for you. This whole kingdom is yours. And in our family, there has never been a beggar." Buddha laughed and he said, "Maybe, sir, in your family there has never been a beggar. But as far as I'm concerned, I have been dreaming for many lives of becoming a beggar. When you became very rich, you started thinking that poor people must be living in tremendous beauty, relaxedness. When you live in a city like a megapolis like Bombay or Tokyo or New York, you think villages are beautiful. Ask the villagers. They are hankering to move to Bombay, to Tokyo, to New York. They dream. When you are poor, you dream about the rich. When you are rich, you dream about the poor. Watch your dreams. They will show you that something that is lacking in the day is being fulfilled. In the day, you are one part of your polarity. In the night, you become another part of your polarity. You are two. So not only does a dialogue continue within you in your dreaming, but in your moments of being awake, there is also a dialogue. If you are a bad man while awake, you will become a saint while you are asleep. If you are a saint while awake, you will become a sinner while you are asleep. That's why your so-called saints are so much afraid of sleep. They go on reducing their sleep because the whole day, somehow they manage to remain saints. But what to do about the night? The whole day they have become celibate. They have not looked at any woman's face. They have avoided life. But what to do in the night? All those faces they have avoided, but could not avoid surface in their being. Beautiful women, more beautiful than they have ever seen in the daytime, erupt. They think that it is Indra, the god of heaven, who is sending apsaras, divine temptresses, to destroy them. Nobody is sending any apsaras. Nobody is interested in these poor fellows. Why should Indra be interested? For what? No. This is compensatory. In the day, they control their saintlessness. In the night, when they relax, and they have to relax, they have to rest. And when they rest, everything is relaxed. Their control is also relaxed. Suddenly, all that they have been repressing comes up. Your day and your night are in constant dialogue. Psychoanalysis say that watching your day life is not as significant as watching your dream life, because in the day you are pretenders, hypocrites. You go on showing faces which are not true. In the dream you are more real. You are no longer hypocrites, no longer pretenders. You don't have any mask. That's why all psychoanalysis try to analyze your dreams. This is ironic, but it is true that your dream life is truer than your daytime life. That while you are asleep, you are more authentic than when you are awake. This is unfortunate, but this is so. Man has become so deceptive. What I am saying to you is this: unless you become a unity, this will continue. In the day, you can control. You can become a good person. In the night, you will become a bad person. You will become a criminal in your dreams. You will do the same things that you have been controlling the whole day, exactly the same things. If you have fasted in the day, you will feast in your dream. Your denied part will take its revenge, and you cannot go both ways together. That's the disease called man. That's the anguish of man. You cannot go both ways. You cannot be good and bad together. You cannot be a saint and sinner together. That is the difficulty. You have to choose. And once you choose, you are torn apart. You are in a dilemma. You are on the horns of a dilemma. The moment you choose, difficulty arises. That's why many people choose not to choose. They live a life of drifting. Whatsoever happens, happens. They don't choose, because the moment they choose, this creates anxiety. Have you watched, observed that whenever you have to make a decision, you become very, very anxious? Maybe it is a very ordinary decision. You are choosing a pair of shoes, and you cannot decide which pair, and anxiety arises. Now it is rubbish, but still, anxiety arises. Anxiety has nothing to do with great decisions. Anxiety has something to do with decision as such, because you are two. Whenever you decide, both parts try to dominate. Your mother tries to dominate. Your father tries to dominate. And of course, you know well, they never agreed about anything. And they don't agree within you either. Your mother says this pair is good. Your father says don't listen to her. She is foolish. This pair is right. Your male energy says one thing. Your female energy says another thing. Your female energy has different attitudes. It looks at the beauty of the pair of the shoes, the shape, the form, the color, aesthetics. The male energy has a different attitude. It looks at the durability of the shoe, the price, the power, whether the shoe has a beautiful, powerful shape. So when you go walking on the streets, your male ego is exhibited through it. Each thing that the male ego chooses has to be somehow a phallic symbol. The male ego chooses a car with great speed, a phallic symbol, forceful. You will always feel impotent people sitting in great phallic cars, impotent people. The more impotent they become, the more powerful a car they choose. They have to compensate. The male ego always chooses that which will fulfill the male ego. I am powerful. That is his basic consideration. The feminine ego chooses something that gives another sort of power. I am beautiful. Hence, they never agree. If your mother purchases something, your father is bound to disagree with it. They are not made to agree. Their visions are different. It happened. Mullah Nasruddin tried many girls, but his mother would reject them all. So he came to me. He said, "Sir, help me. Whomsoever I choose, my mother is so dominating and so aggressive, and she immediately rejects. I am tired. Am I going to remain a bachelor my whole life?" I told him, You do one thing, you choose a woman considering your mother's likes and dislikes. Only then will she approve. Finally, he found one woman. He was very happy. He said, she walks like my mother, she wears clothes like my mother, chooses the same colors, cooks the food the same way. I hope she will like her. I said, you go. And the mother liked the girl. She liked her tremendously. And Mullah came to see me, but he was very sad. I said, why are you sad? He said, it seems I am going to remain a bachelor for my whole life. I said, what happened? Your mother didn't like her? He said, she liked her tremendously. But my father, he rejects her. Now, it is impossible. My father says, she is just like your mother. One is enough. And I am fed up. Don't get into the same trouble. What are you doing? Again, the same mistake. These two polarities in you are the basis of your anxiety. And the whole effort of a Buddha, of a master, is to help you go beyond this duality. It is said about Chang Tso that he dreamed one night that he had become a butterfly moving from one flower to another in the garden. In the morning, when he awoke, he was very puzzled. He was a great teacher, a great master, one of the greatest Buddhas ever born on the earth. His discipline gathered, and they looked at him. And he was very sad. They said, Master, you have never been sad. What has happened? He said, there is a problem to be solved by you. And the problem is that I, Chang Tso, dreamed in the night that I had become a butterfly. They laughed. They said, now the dream is gone. You are awake. Why bother about it? Chang Tsung said, listen to the whole thing. Now a problem has arisen. If Chang Tsung can dream, and in dream can become a butterfly, why can't it happen the other way around? A butterfly can go to sleep and dream that she has become a Chang Tsung. Now, who is who? Whether Chang Tso dreamed that he had become a butterfly, or the butterfly is dreaming that she has become a Chang Tsung, this is the problem that is making me very sad. It is said that no one from his disciples could solve the conundrum. This Quan, how to solve it, how to decide who is who. But if there had been somebody deeply meditative, he would have answered. In fact, Chang Tsung has posed the question just to know whether somebody has really become meditative among his disciples. Because then neither the butterfly is true nor Chang Tsung is true. But the one who is puzzled, the one who watched Chang Tzu becoming a butterfly and who watched the butterfly becoming Chang Tzu, that watchfulness, that awareness, that witness is the only reality. This is the meaning of the concept of Maya, that all that you see is unreal. Only the seer is real. Go on moving towards the seer. Otherwise, you live in a magical world. You can change from one magic world to another. Man lives in lies. People call their lies their philosophies. Freud has said somewhere a very penetrating insight that man cannot live without lies, as humankind is. Freud seems to be right. We cannot live without lies. Without lies, it is difficult, because then you will need courage. Your lies make life smooth. They function like lubrication. They help you move more easily. Somebody believes in a God that makes life a little smoother. You can throw your responsibility on somebody. Somebody believes that the world beyond. Maybe Here we are miserable, but their paradise is waiting for us, ready to welcome us. It helps. Marx has said that religion is the opium of the people. Yes, he is also right in a way. All hopes are lies. All expectations of the future are lies. Yes, religion can be an opium, but so can communism. Anything that gives hope for the future in this world or in another world, anything that helps you to sacrifice your present for something that may happen, may not happen, anything that gives you a feeling of meaning, anything that gives you a feeling that you are a hero, anything that helps to feed your ego. Once the Maharani of Gwalior invited me to Gwalior for a series of talks. After she heard the first talk, she was very much disturbed. She had a very Hinduistic mind, a very dogmatic mind, orthodox, old-fashioned. She was very much disturbed. She came to see me in the afternoon and she said, "Sir, what you say is appealing, but it is dangerous. And I have come with one request. Please don't destroy people's faith." I told her, if a faith can be destroyed, it is not worth much. If a faith can be destroyed, it must be a faith in lies. A faith that is really a faith in truth is never afraid of being destroyed. It cannot be destroyed because truth cannot be destroyed. Hindus are afraid, Christians are afraid, Mohammedans are afraid, Jainis are afraid. Everybody is afraid. Don't destroy our faith. In their faith, they are just hiding their lies, their magic worlds, their dreams, their expectations. They are very touchy. If you just poke into their ribs, their faith is skin deep. Not even that. They immediately become irritated because their faith is not anything deep in their heart. It is just a belief in the mind. The Maharani of Gwalior said to me, "My son is very interested listening to you." He became fascinated, but I prevented him from coming with me to see you. I have not brought him to you. You are dangerous, and he is young, and he can become too impressed by you. So I have not brought him at all. What is this fear? Are you clinging to lies? Only lies are afraid of being broken. Only lies need protection. Truth in itself is self-evident. So if you have some faith, which is just a lie, it makes you secure, I know. It helps to adjust with the world, I know. But it is not going to help you ultimately. Sooner or later, you will be awakened out of your dreaming and you will see your whole life has been a wastage. There is no need to cling to anything outside because it is not yet in any way possible for you to decide what is true and what is false outside. Right now, it will be better that you just move inwards to it and forget all about the outside. Don't be bothered about Hinduism, Christianity, Mohammedanism. Don't be bothered about Vedas and Gitas and Qurans. Just go in and let one thing be your goal. To know who is this consciousness. What is this consciousness? Who am I? This sutra is a gradual indication of the inner journey. Listen to it. The Buddha said, "It is better to feed one good man than to feed 100 bad men." Who is a bad man and who is a good man? What is the definition? The bad man is one who is inconsiderate of others. The bad man is one who uses others and has no respect for others. The bad man is one who thinks he is the center of the world and everybody is just to be used. Everything exists for him. The bad man is one who thinks that other persons are just means for his gratification. Keep this definition in mind because you ordinarily think the bad man is the criminal. The bad man may not be a criminal. All bad men are not criminals. All criminals are bad, but not all bad men are criminals. A few of them are judges. A few of them are very respectable people. A few of them are politicians, presidents, and prime ministers. A few of them are even paradigm saints. So when we are talking about this sutra, remember the definition of a bad man. Buddha says a bad man is one who has no consideration for others. He simply thinks only about himself. He thinks he is the center of existence and feels the whole existence is made for him. He feels authorized to sacrifice everybody for his own self. He may not be bad ordinarily, but if this is the attitude, then he is a bad man. Who is a good man? Just the opposite of the bad man. One who is considerate of others, who gives as much respect to others as he gives himself. One who does not pretend in any way that he is the center of the world, but who has come to feel that everybody is the center of the world. The world is one, but millions of centers exist. He is very respectful. He never uses the other as a means. The other is an end in himself or herself. The good person's reference is tremendous. Watch your own life. Are you using your wife just for sexuality? You may not go to a prostitute. Ordinarily, you think that a person who goes to a prostitute is bad. But that is a very gross definition. If you are using your wife just as a sexual object, you are as bad as anybody else. The only difference between you and the person who goes to a prostitute is that you have a permanent prostitute. Your marriage is a permanent arrangement, and the other man makes arrangements day by day. You have a car in your garage, and he uses a taxi. If you don't respect your wife, then your wife is a prostitute. If you don't respect her as a person in her own right, what does it mean? It means if she is not feeling in the mood to make love, you will not force her. You will not say, I am your husband and I have the right, legal right. No, you will respect her. You will respect her intention. Good if you both agree. If the other is not agreeing, you will not coerce the other in any way. You will not quote scriptures saying that a wife has to sacrifice to the husband. You will not say that a wife has to treat the husband as if he is a god. All this is nonsense. All this is a male-oriented trip. If a wife is using her husband only as an economic support, as financial security, then it is prostitution. Why do you condemn a prostitute? Because she sells her body for money? But if a wife just thinks to make love to the husband because he has money, and with him there is security, and the future is not uncertain, if she goes on staying with him and sleeps with him with no love in her heart, then she is prostituting herself. Then in her mind, the husband is nothing but his money, his bank balance. When Buddha talks about who is a good man, he defines the good man as one who respects the other as much as he respects himself. Jesus says, love the other as you love yourself. That is the definition of a good man. His respect is tremendous. His reverence is tremendous. Even if a child is born in your house, you don't enforce your ideology on the child. You may be a Mohammedan, you may be a Hindu, a Christian. A child is born in your home, but you don't force the child to become a Hindu or a Christian or a Mohammedan. If you force the child, you are not respectful towards the child. You are just using an opportunity. The child is helpless and has to depend on you. He has to follow you. If you take him to the temple or to the church, he has to come because it is necessary for his survival to say yes to you no matter what you say. If you are using this opportunity, then you are exploiting a helpless child. Maybe it is your child, but you are exploiting. If the world consists of good people, children will be totally free, not forced into any religion. There will not be Christians and Hindus and Mohammedans in the world. There will be only good people growing up, and they will choose wherever they feel their heart fits. Maybe it is a temple, or it is a church, or a mosque, or a gurdwara. They will choose their religion. That is their freedom. They will choose their life. That is their freedom. You don't enforce anything. You love your child, but you don't give your knowledge to him. You love your child, but you don't poison his being with your ambitions. You love the child, but you don't possess him. You help the child not to grow according to you, but to grow according to his being, to be himself. Then you are a good person. It is better to feed one good man than to feed 100 bad men, because if you feel bad men, you feed badness. If you feed good men, you feed goodness. Help the world to become better. Don't leave the world just the same as you have found it. Make it a little better. Make it a little more beautiful. Let there be a few more songs, a few more celebrations. Let there be a few less wars, a few less politicians. Let there be more love, less hatred. That is the meaning when Buddha says, feed one good man. That is better, far better, than feeding 100 bad men. It is better to feed one who observes the 5 precepts of Buddha than to feed 1,000 good men. Now, who is this whom Buddha calls one who follows the 5 precepts of Buddha? The 5 precepts are no possessiveness, no theft, no violence, no untruth, no sexuality. One who follows the 5 precepts of the Buddha, he is not just good. He is not just good to others. He is not just moral. He is starting to be religious. That is the difference between the good man and the religious man. The good man lives through intellect. He thinks, contemplates. He tries to find ways through thinking, and he comes to feel. As I have the right to exist, others also have the right to exist. As I would like to be free, and others also like freedom. This is his considered opinion. He thinks about it. He is not religious. He is a very intellect man. A Bertrand Russell is a good man, a moral man, but he is not religious. Whatever he comes to think is good, he will do, but goodness comes out of logic. As a syllogism, it is a conclusion of thinking. The religious person is not only good through thinking, but starts being good by being. He starts to grow into meditativeness. The religious person follows these 5 precepts. They are all negative: no theft, no untruth, no sexuality, no violence, no possessiveness. The religious man is negative because he himself has not yet experienced what truth is. He has come to feel the truth through somebody else. He follows the Buddha. He lives close to a master. He has seen somebody becoming a flame. He has watched it happen somewhere, but it has not happened in himself. He is attracted. He is convinced of the truth of it, but still, it is from the outside. He is a follower. That's why Buddha says, it is better to feed one who observes the 5 precepts of Buddha than to feed 1,000 good men. His approach is still negative because the positive truth can be attained only by you. Somebody else may have attained, and watching that person being in deep rapport, you may feel that yes, there is truth, but that remains outside of it. It is not your experience. You are thirsty, and you see somebody who is coming from the river. His thirst is gone. You can see from his face, from the glow in his eyes, that his thirst is quenched. You can feel that he must have found a source of water, and you can follow him towards the river, but still you have not quenched your thirst. But this is better than to be just good. Then you are not moving just with your intellect. Now you have started moving with your intuition. Now you are not just a head, you are moving, leaning towards the heart. How to believe something which you have never tasted? How to believe something which you have never experienced? How to believe in something which you have never seen happen even to somebody else? When a Buddha passes through the world, many people are thrilled. Their enthusiasm surges high. They start feeling that yes, the world does not end with worldly things. There is something more to it. The very presence of a Buddha, his coolness, his silence, his overflowing bliss and compassion, his enlightenment, luminous being, just his vibe, pulsates you toward a new life, opens doors of the unknown. But still, Buddha says you are following. You are not yet capable of your own light. Your eyes are dazzled, but you have not attained to your own flame. It is better to feed one Srotapana than to feed 10,000 of those who observe the 5 precepts of Buddha. Then Buddha says, it is better to feed a sannyasin. Srotapana means a sannyasin, one who has entered into the river, one who is not just standing on the bank and watching others swimming in the river, thrashing around, enjoying, celebrating in the coolness of the river. The religious man is standing on the bank. He can see that there are people in the river, tremendously happy, but he has not been yet able to gather the courage to jump. He has still much involvement with the riverbank in the world. He has much involvement in ordinary mundane things: money, power, prestige, family, body, health, 1,001 things. He is not yet courageous enough to let go. Srotapana means one who has surrendered, who has entered the stream. Srotapana exactly means what I mean by sannyas, the courage person who has taken the jump. It is almost as an insane jump, because those who are standing on the bank will laugh, and they will say, "What are you doing? Where are you going? You don't know swimming. First learn swimming, then enter." But how can one learn swimming without entering the river? Their logic is impeccable. They say first learn, first know, then go, but first learn on the bank, otherwise you are taking a risk. The river may be too deep for you, and you may not be able to come back. And who knows where it is going? And these people who are in the river, maybe they are all deluded. Maybe they are all mad. Just look, the majority is standing on the bank. Only a few people are in the river. The majority cannot be wrong. The few can be wrong. The mass cannot be wrong. There are only a few sannyasins in the world. Very rare are Buddhas in the world. Maybe they are deluded. Don't be in a hurry. Maybe they are deceiving others. Who knows? Maybe they have some other hidden motives. Wait and watch. Don't do such a thing in a hurry. But such things are done only in a hurry. If you wait and watch, waiting and watching becomes your mechanical habit, then you simply go on waiting and watching. That's what many are doing for many lives. Buddha says, it is better to feed one Srotapana than to feed 10,000s of those who observe the 5 precepts of Buddha. Because the Srotapana will have some experience of the stream. He will have his own experience to depend upon. He will have some taste of the stream. He will have the cool experience of the stream, that it relaxes, that worldly cares and anxieties disappear, that one stops struggling, anguish by and by moves distant and goes far away. Ordinary cares and anxieties disappear. One becomes more collected and calm. But this can be known only by a Srotapana, a sannyasin. A sannyasin has taken an existential step. He has moved into the abyss. He has risked his life. Buddha says, respect a man, feed a man who has risked his life. Maybe you are not yet courageous, but be close to people who are courageous. Courage is also infectious, like everything else. Find people who have entered the stream. Be with them. Feed them. At least they will give you an idea what is happening to somebody. You may start dreaming, desiring it. Your hidden energies may start surfacing. You may start feeling the challenge of the unknown. The religious person is negative. The Srotapana is positive. The religious person follows somebody else. The Srotapana has entered into the stream of life, into the stream of consciousness. He has dropped his ego. Now he is no longer a follower of a Buddha. This has to be understood. Ordinarily, if you are my sannyasin, my disciples, people will say that you are my followers. By becoming a sannyasin, in fact, you have become part of me. You are no longer a follower. Before you became a sannyasin, you may have been a follower. Then you decided that following is not enough, that you are ready to go with me headlong, that you are ready to go with me wherever I am going. Once you are a sannyasin, you are not a follower. You are part of the energy I am. You are just one with me. People ask me, if we don't take sannyas, will you not help me? Will you not help us? I say, I will help. That is not the problem. But you will not be able to take the help because you will stay separate. You will stay on the bank. The river is ready to take you to the ocean. The invitation is already given to you. It is a standing invitation because you are on the bank. What can the river do? It cannot snatch you away from the bank. And it wouldn't be good even if it were possible, because you have to drop into the river on your own. Only then it is freedom. If you are snatched by the river, if I take you away forcibly, it cannot help you. It can destroy you. It cannot give you freedom. How can it give you ultimate freedom? Moksha. From the very beginning, it will be a bondage. So I will not take you like a flooded river takes people. I will have to wait. You will have to come to me. You will have to enter into the stream. You will have to become part of the stream. The Srotapana or the Sannyasin is positive. Now, instead of non-truth, truth arises in him. Non-truth was just a preparation so that truth can enter. Instead of non-violence or no violence, love and compassion arises. Non-violence was just a preparation for it. No violence, no untruth, and other negatives are just medicinal. You are ill. The physician gives you a medicine to destroy the illness. When the illness is destroyed, then health arises in you. Medicine never brings health. It only destroys the disease. Health cannot be brought by any medicine. There is no health-giving medicine. Health is your inner being. Once the hindrances are removed, your waters of life start flowing. Once rocks are removed, your fountain bursts forth. Health is something natural. No medicine can give it to you. Disease is something unnatural. Disease enters you from the outside. An outside medicine can take it away. Health is your innermost core. It is you. When you are naturally yourself, you are healthy. The religious man is under treatment. He is hospitalized. The Srotapana has come back home. He is no longer hospitalized. He is not under treatment. His health has started sprouting. His spring of life is flowing well. He is positive. His goal is not non-violence. His goal is not to get rid of what is untrue. His goal is not to delete something, to eliminate something. His goal is not to destroy something. His goal is to help that which is already bubbling up, radiating in his being. It is better to feed one Skridagaman than to feed 1 billion of Srotapanas. Buddha goes deeper and deeper. A Skridagaman is one who will die and who will come once again in life. His Samadhi is just coming closer. The Srotapana is one who has jumped into the stream from the bank. A Skridagaman is one whose river is coming very close to the ocean. He is getting ready to take the ultimate, the final jump. But he will come back once more. Just that much difference. A Srotapana will be born 7 times. That is the distance from the riverbank to the ocean. A Sannyasin will be born 7 more times, a Skridagaman once more, only once more. Then his accounts will be closed. Then he will have passed through the final graduation from life. Then this world is no more for him, but once more he will come, maybe for his post-graduation. It is better to feed one Anagaman than to feed 10 millions of Skridagamans. The Anagaman is one who will not come again. Anagaman means one who has passed beyond the point of coming back, who has crossed the shore of this world. Once he has died, he will not be coming back again to the world. He is just on the verge of disappearing into the ocean. The river is just there on the threshold, ready to jump. He will not even look back. The Skridagaman is looking back, hesitating a little, would like to come back once more. This world is beautiful. It attracts. It has many celebrations. Many flowers bloom here. The Skridagaman is one who, from subtle desires, are still lurking somewhere in the deep unconscious. Yes, he knows that one has to go, but a little more he would like to linger on this shore. Before he takes the final jump and disappears forever, he would like to taste this life once more, just as a farewell, to say goodbye. The Anagaman is one who will not look back. He will not even say goodbye. He is totally finished. The Skridagaman is perfectly certain that a better world is waiting, but still a little longing for the past. You always feel that, a little nostalgia. When you are leaving a house where you have lived for 20 years, have you watched, you look back. Or you leave a town you have lived in for 20 years, where you were born, you look back. Even when the train leaves, you go on looking out of the window, your eyes a little wet with memories, nostalgia, the past, the whole past. You have been here for so long. You loved here. You hated here. You had friends. You had enemies. You had many sorts of experiences here. You owe so much to this life. Yes, you are ready to go. You are already in the train, but still the eyes of longing look backwards. The Skridagaman will come once again. The Anagaman will not. His departure is total, perfect. He will not look back. He has no nostalgia. The future that is about to happen is far more beautiful. This world simply has disappeared from his consciousness. The golden peaks are waiting for him. The oceanic infinity is waiting for him. He does not hanker any more for the bounded existence of a river. Yes, there were many flowers on the bank, and beautiful trees, and shadows, and many dreams, but that is gone. Gone is gone. Buddha says it is better to feed one Anagaman than to feed 10 millions of Skridagamans. It is better to feed one Arhat than to feed 100 billions of Anagamans. The Arhat is one who has dropped into the ocean, disappeared. The Anagaman is one who is just on the verge of disappearing, just on the boundary line. One step more and he will become an Arhat. Just a little distance and he will become an Arhat. One drop more. Just the last straw is needed on the back of the camel and the camel will collapse. The Anagaman is boiling at 99 degrees, 1 degree more. The Arhat is one who has crossed 100 degrees and evaporated. Arhat is one who has evaporated. Buddha says it is better to feed one Arhat than to feed 100 millions of Anagamans. The Arhat is one whose ego is lost, who has become part of the whole. He no longer exists as himself. Now he exists as the universe, as the whole. In fact, that is the meaning of the word holy, one who has become whole. The Arhat is holy, not holy in the sense Christians use the word saint. No, not in that sense. The Christian word saint is ugly. It comes from a root sanctus, meaning sanctioned by the church. That is ugly. How can you sanction someone who is there to sanction? No government can issue certificates for saints. Even the government that exists in the Vatican, even the Pope, has no authority. A saint cannot be certified, but the Christian word saint means one who is certified by the Pope. Arhat does not mean a saint in that way. Arhat means one who has lost himself in the whole and has become holy. It is better to feed one Pratyek Buddha than to feed 1 billion of Arhats. Who is this Pratyek Buddha? The Arhat is one who has followed Buddhas and arrived home. The Pratyek Buddha is one who has never been a disciple to anybody, who has come searching alone. His journey has been absolutely alone. His path has been absolutely alone. A Pratyek Buddha is a rare phenomenon. There are millions of Arhats down the centuries, but very far and few in between are Pratyek Buddhas who have struggled absolutely alone. And of course, they are needed, otherwise Arhats will not be possible. Pratyek Buddhas are needed so that others can follow them. They are the pioneers. They are the breakthroughs. They create the path. Remember it. The Pratyek Buddha is one who moves in the jungle of life for the first time and creates a path by his very moment. Then others can follow. Those others will reach to the same point, to the same goal, but they will be Arhats. They have not created the path. They are not the pathfinders. They are not the path builders. More respect is to be given to a Pratyek Buddha because no path was there. He created the path. It is better to feed one of the Buddhas, either of the present or of the past or of the future, than to feed 10 billions of Pratyek Buddhas. Then what is the difference between a Pratyek Buddha and a Buddha? A Pratyek Buddha is one who creates the path and never bothers if anyone is following him or not. He has no compassion. He is a lonely traveler and he has found alone, so he thinks everybody can find. What is the point of going and telling people? He is not a master. A Pratyek Buddha makes the path not for others. Remember, he is just moving and the path is created by his movement. A small footpath in the jungle, because he has moved, others follow him. That is for them to worry about. He never cares. He is a lonely traveler and he thinks what can happen to him can happen to others. When Buddha himself became enlightened, these two alternatives were before him, whether to become a Buddha or a Pratyek Buddha. For 7 days he remained quiet. There was every possibility that he may have chosen to be a Pratyek Buddha. Then the whole humanity would have missed something of tremendous value. It is said that Brahma came with all his gods from heaven. It is a beautiful parable. They bowed down at the feet of Buddha and they prayed to him. Open your eyes and teach us whatsoever you have found. But Buddha said, what is the point? If I can find, others can also find. He was leaning towards becoming a Pratyayak Buddha. His logic was perfect. If I can find, then why not others? And he said, even if I teach those who want to listen, only they will listen to me. Those who are ready to go, only they will go with me. They can go without me. And those who are not ready to go, they won't listen. And they will not go even if I shout from the housetop. So why bother? The gods discussed between themselves what to do, how to convince this man. A great opportunity has happened in the universe, and if he becomes a Pratyayak Buddha, then again the message will be lost. Of course, a few people will again find a way, but there is a possibility to make a superhighway. A footpath can disappear very soon. The trees can overrun it. It has to be prepared in such a way that for centuries to come, people can follow the path, and the trees and the jungle will not destroy it, will not cover it over again. They discussed and they argued amongst themselves. Then they found an argument. They came to Buddha again and they said, you have to teach, because we watched and we looked all around the world. Yes, you are right. There are a few people who will immediately follow you, and we know that those are the people. Even if you don't say anything, they will find a little later, maybe a few more steps, but they will find. We are certain about it. They are already on their search, so maybe your teaching will bring the understanding sooner, but nothing much more is going to happen. You are right. And there are people, millions we know, we have seen, we have looked into the hearts of humanity who will not listen, who are deaf to any person like you. So talking to them is not of any meaning. But we have seen a few people who are just in between the two, just lurking on the boundary. They will not go if you don't speak, and if you speak, they will listen and they will gather courage. So just please, for those few people, and Buddha could not argue. He had to concede, and he became a Buddha and dropped the idea of becoming a Pratyayak Buddha. Buddha is one who has found his path. Not only that, he created that path in such a way that many more can follow it. He has tremendous compassion for others, for all those struggling human beings who are groping in the dark. It is better to feed one of the Buddhas than to feed 10 billions of Pratyayak Buddhas. It is better to feed one who is above knowledge, one-sidedness, discipline, and enlightenment than to feed 100 billions of Buddhas of past, present, or future. And then he comes to the last point, the 0 point, even beyond a Buddha. As far as human intellect can go, Buddha seems to be the last point. That's why we call Gautama Siddhartha the Buddha, because that is as far as language can go. But there is a point beyond language. There is a point which it's not expressible, beyond symbols, ineffable. That Buddha calls going beyond even being a Buddha. Then one is not even in any way thinking that he is enlightened. Then one has no disciple. Then one has no character. Then one is not. One is simply empty space. In a Buddha, at least a little desire exists to help others. A compassion exists for others. But that too will be a bondage. That means that Buddha still thinks others are and I am, and I can help others still. the last subtle boundary of I and you, of me and thou exists. The last point Buddha says is a 0 point where all knowledge disappears, all experience disappears, even the experience of nirvana, because there is nobody to experience it. It is difficult to say anything about it. Only negative descriptions are possible. You can find this point in all the religions. They have different words for it. Jews, Christians, Mohammedans, Hindus call this point God. That is their way of saying the beyond. But the Buddhist way seems to be far superior. Jhanas, Sankhyas, Yogins call this state moksha, absolute freedom, or others call it kaivalya, absolute aloneness. But still, all these words confine it. Buddha has not used any word. He simply says, it is better to feed one who is above knowledge, above one-sidedness, above discipline, above enlightenment, than to feed 100 billions of Buddhas of the past, present, or future. These are the possibilities within you. Ordinarily, you exist as a bad man, so you are existent on the minimum, on the lowest rung. Try to become a good man. It is better than to be bad, but don't think it's the goal. It's all comparative. It is all relative. I have heard Mullah Nasruddin was in love with a woman. He went to the girl's father and requested that he should be allowed to have his daughter's hand. The father was completely willing. He said, I am absolutely happy. I have nothing to say against it, but my wife will not agree. She thinks with your long hippie-like hair, with your poetic style of life, with your unisex dress, that she thinks you look effeminate. Mullah brooded over it and he said, she is right in comparison to her. Everything is comparative. The good man is good in comparison to the bad. But in comparison to the religious man, he is just like the bad man. The sannyasin is a good in comparison to the religious man. But how to compare him with the skridagaman? And so on and so forth. The more you travel on the inner path, the more higher peaks become available to you. Never rest content unless you have reached the very last, the uttermost. And the uttermost is beyondness, where nothing exists, only pure existence remains. That purity is the goal, and in that purity you become one. Until that purity is achieved, somehow duality persists. First in a gross way, then in a subtle way, then in a very, very subtle way. First in the conscious, then in the unconscious, but it goes on. Then even in the supra-conscious, it persists. It goes on creating shadows. So remember it. The goal is to disappear completely. The goal is to transcend all duality, all definition. The goal is to become one with the whole. Enough for today.